Appleblossom the Possum by Holly Goldberg Sloan. Chapter 30. Hours later, Antonio and Hamlet still haven't been able to get Big Poss's attention away from the garbage cans. Big Poss is chewing an empty yogurt container and spitting out plastic pieces when Antonio begs, "We have to stop eating and do something to help Appleblossom." Big Poss stops chewing white chunks and looks up. Maybe he's finally full, because he says, "Your sister? She's trapped in a monster house, remember?" Big Poss's eyes narrow and he whispers, "I've taken this time to formulate a plan." Antonio and Hamlet exhale with relief, even though the plan has not been revealed. "You have?" says Hamlet. "That's great. Tell us." Big Poss rises up on his back legs and gives his body a shake. Scraps from his meal fly in all directions. He then runs his fingers through the fur on the top of his head and works at fashioning his wild hair into his signature style. Antonio and Hamlet wait patiently. Their father pulls on his tail to straighten it. He grabs a prickly weed from a crack in the dark asphalt and uses it to scrub his teeth. He tosses the plant, smacks his lips, and he bellows, "Are you ready to tumble?" Big Poss then springs forward and his front paws hit the ground as he kicks his back feet high into the air. His tail arches in a somewhat graceful manner as he executes a fairly decent cartwheel. Hamlet just stares, but Antonio says, "So the plan is to do cartwheels?" Big Poss raises his arms high in the air. "Staging is very important. I thought you would have studied that in acting class." Hamlet answers with a touch of sarcasm. "Maybe we didn't have enough instruction." Big Poss clears his throat and steps forward into the spot created by the streetlight. It's dramatic, but looks dangerous. His voice is filled with weight and importance as he delivers his message. "We must go and find your mother." Antonio can't hide his anger. "Your big plan is to find Mama Possum? If that was your big plan, why didn't you tell us hours ago?" "And how do you intend to find her?" says Hamlet. "We haven't seen her in days." Big Poss doesn't seem the least bit bothered by the fact that Antonio and Hamlet are both yelling. He barely shrugs. "Oh, trust me, ankle-biters, this won't be hard. Your mother loves to hop and bop. She most especially loves to dance in the moonlight." Antonio doesn't hide his disdain. "Mama doesn't hop or bop." And Hamlet adds, "And Mama absolutely doesn't dance in the moonlight." Big Poss groans. The young never really know their parents. That's the tragedy of modern life. Hamlet answers, "Of course we don't know you. We only met you earlier tonight." Big Poss grabs his own tail and cracks it like a whip. "Believe me when I say that your mama loves rock and roll." Hamlet's voice is shaky. "Hey, sure, whatever you say. You're the Big Poss." Big Poss spins around and does a quick two-step. For now, we exit stage left. The next thing the two young possums know, Big Poss is dropped to the ground and scurried to a telephone pole where he starts to climb with great vigor. Antonio and Hamlet have no choice but to follow. With a lot more balance and skill than seems possible, their flabby father scrambles out onto the wires that connect the poles. Hamlet and Antonio struggle to keep up. Big Poss's weight makes the telephone lines bounce, and that plus his singing make for a unique high-wire act. The two brothers are so intent on not losing sight of the large marsupial that they forget that they have never been this far from their own neighborhood. Almost an hour passes before Big Poss finally stops, atop a pole on a platform that looks out on a wide, glowing river of light. This is the largest cement path that Antonio and Hamlet have ever seen. One side is red, and one side glows bright white. Hamlet whispers to Antonio, "The vicious beasts are all together." Big Poss wraps his tail around the wire and bellows over the rumble of the metal monsters. "Take a peek at that, pilgrims!" Antonio manages, "You took us all the way to see a monster migration?" Hamlet whispers, "What's a migration?" Antonio doesn't answer, his eyes now fixed on the wires ahead, which run toward enormous towers. These giant structures have cables strung high above the wide cement path. Big Poss stares out into the distance. Your mama is on the other side. Antonio steps back in defeat. Big Poss, I can't go out there. I have problems with heights. There, I said it. I'm a big baby. Maybe that should be my new name. At his side, Amlet whispers, Same with me. Can't do it. Big Poss looks at his two sons. Can't do what? Amlet speaks for both of them. We can't cross over the cars and trucks on the high wire. Big Poss chortles. We're not crossing from above. I just came to show you the view. His spotted tongue rolls back into his mouth and Big Poss turns and starts down the pole to the ground. Antonio and Amlet are both confused. If he isn't going to cross in the air, does he plan on crossing on the ground? Antonio calls out, What are you doing? We can't face that many cars and trucks. But Big Poss doesn't answer. Once down from the pole, Big Poss heads for a rock pile in an area thick with weeds. Scraps of paper and many plastic bags, mostly torn, are caught in snarls around the scrappy green shoots. Big Poss knows his way around, and he moves quickly, not in a straight line, but in a zigzag manner, until he comes to a large storm drain that is unseen behind the rocks. Follow me, single line, and don't chase the toads or talk to the rats. We don't have time to listen to their nonsense. There is a metal grate in front of the storm drain. It isn't difficult for Antonio and Amlet to get through, but Big Poss has to draw in his breath and squeeze his body into a gap that does not look large enough to accommodate his girth. He's thrilled when he gets to the other side, shouting, When you are an actor, your body is your instrument. A slow-moving stream runs down the center of the drain. Big Poss leads the way. Antonio and Amlet feel their feet slide in the ooze. It isn't long before the dark world comes alive. The first thing they recognize is the croak of toads. Amlet finds amphibians very tasty. But the three possums are full of garbage, and besides, according to Big Poss's instructions, there is no stopping now. Antonio and Amlet hear the rats before they see them. There is a rustling noise and then the low hiss of rodent voices. Hey there, you beasts new to the neighborhood. Can we talk? You want to buy a snapping turtle? Big Poss keeps moving, but grunts in the direction of the unseen voices. We're not buying anything you're selling. Several steps later, Antonio feels something hit his back. It's a pebble. He turns and sees dozens of rodent eyes. When he gasps, Big Poss rears up onto his back legs and growls, Listen, you rats. I didn't come here looking for trouble, but I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you good. Big Poss then charges straight into the darkness, his mouth open to expose his 42 sharp, but chipped and stained, teeth. But he doesn't have to use them. The dozens of rats take off in the other direction, leaving the three possums to continue on their way. Antonio and Amlet don't say anything, but they are both impressed by the performance. Stay tuned for Appleblossom the Possum, Chapter 31.